Hello everyone, welcome back to the lab. As whoever's been paying attention to my Facebook and other social media, I went to Unmatched Gaming. Their grand opening. They had a free double case tournament yesterday at somewhere Pennsylvania, and then that was like about an hour ish away from me. So I went there with my other friends. The tournament was pretty big. It was like 152 people, with 8 rounds, and cut to top 16 and top 8 get prizes. And then for if you have been paying attention with my Facebook, I made a top 4 with my Drytron list. It's probably one of the first kind of Drytron top result in the current format at the moment. And then therefore here I am making a deck profile. Like I took a picture last night and posted on my social medias, and then now I just woke up. I guess time to do a deck profile. So for whoever was in the tournament yesterday, you probably already see me playing. I think I played Pack on top 8, so whoever's been watching Pack stream probably also see me actually playing on his stream. So here is the list. It's not that too, how do I say it? It's not too different from what I've been playing before. Um, for with my judgment list. However, it's really different than what like the majority judgment list you will be seeing in either this format or last format. Like last format, because due to like protos locking light, Drytron's pretty much dead, or even exists. It's existing as more just like a DPE size deck, and then that end is becoming the main variance of how Drytrons really play. But to be honest, this format, if you want to play DP size, why would bother playing Drytron, right? It would just be either Brave PK or just a single Cyrus gadget is doing DP size already by itself. Why playing a whole deck, like devote yourself to that specific combo while not being that consistent. Like Cyrus Gadget it's already doing that. And why you want to build a whole deck to do the same thing anyway for DP size only. Therefore, I ended up not choosing DP size. That's one reason. If I really want to go for like a DP size lock deck kind of deck, it'll probably just be like something Cyber Gadget or just Brave PK, or even Virtual can do a size combo, which I do also have my Virtual list. I almost entered with. But at the end I wasn't able to. Not only I didn't feel like um I feel more confident with my Drytron. Also, I didn't have my Brave card, so I had to borrow it. So I was like, it's only a local. It's a big local, but I'm just playing what I'm more familiar with. Um, and then I guess I'll go deep into the list. There are the 4 ritual monster, Draconids, Perfection Benten Ida 10. Perfection Benten Ida 10 are standard fairies. Draconids, like I used to not play it. I at the beginning, like I built this right after they announced the ban list, like what a couple weeks ago. Draconids was not in the list. However, after playtesting a little bit, theory a little bit, realized there is nothing to really summon after if size has resolved from my opponent. And Draconids being like the only relatively accessible one, uh, well, at least have a chance, right? Usually it wouldn't matter because Draconids can get fog bladed, and and then it's just a big body does nothing there. But at the same time, let me see. I even thought about play Quadrantes, whatever the other guy is. He bypassed with the fog blades, but then he just get destroyed by DPE. Well, I mean, both of them get destroyed by DPE and other things. So at the end, it was like, it's not really doing anything. Draconids is just the better one. So well, I need at least either one be due to like size and other things. So I'm just choosing Draconid. I side out every time I don't see a size in my opponent's deck, so that's pretty much it. And then the Drytron ratio, 3 alpha, 3 zeta, 1 gamma, 1 delta. The ratio I've been playing for like almost half a year since last year, October. It's in my opinion, almost at this point, two completely variants of like your Drytron lineup can just determine which variants of Drytron you're playing. I'm on the lower end of Drytron numbers because I think just by Drytron itself, it's not enough. Just by fairy, it's not enough. Your Drytron is usually just to access the fairy. So at the end, I want a good balance between both. And then Alpha Zeta are more important than the other two. Therefore, Alpha Zeta are max. And then Gamma Delta. It's so accessible through almost everything. Like there are, despite being one each, there are actually still like there's like six more in terms of spells for Drytrons and your two Muguras. So for only one Gamma and have no access to Gamma or Delta, it's very hard for that to happen. Therefore, one of each is enough. There's still like enough copies of them because the spells. And then three Diviner. Well, it's Diviner. I do make rank 6 plays a lot or a lot more now compared to before. Therefore, Diviner is relatively important. I do have a tendency to side out a Diviner going second due to it's probably just not resolving most of the time when we go second, right? Be when we are in a format where like there are Chi Shao, Fog Blade, a lot of negations. So yeah, Diviner, it's needed at 3, but it's not that good. So I do side out 1 going second. Occasionally, rare case I even side out 2, but that really depends on the matchup and how many I have to side. One orange. Orange now is a weird card due to Ava getting banned. Is still at the end a searchable negate from Benton being a live fairy. I've even seen people completely cut it because Ava's gone. Why would you play orange, right? It's not entirely true. Like at the end of my combo, usually well, there's no really fixed line combos anymore. You kind of just play your whole hand. I'll talk about the combos in a bit after going through the whole list. But orange is something like you can search off Ben 10 and then in case your perfection get droplet like half the time, you just show one orange left. That's the idea before. It just before with Ava, there's like two, three more orange after droplet on the perfection or ultimate. But now one is enough because it's not realistic to even set up two pair of orange. It's way too costly to even resolve them, and to even have all of them in the hand. One is enough to just search it. Whenever you don't need to search more combo piece, just search fairies. Then orange is the better one, and then orange is kind of also the Nibiru answer. Nibiru isn't that great due to Brave being in the format. However, Nibiru does seem play. It's like sometimes very good, sometimes very dead. But that's like almost the same for like all the hand traps at the moment. So Nibiru does see some plays, and then well, there's a searchable answer to it. Why not, right? One orange does actually. I do raw draw it. I mean, this is like along with the token collector next to it, as you see already. These are the only two hand traps in my main, and then combined with the 3 droplet, these are the only defensive card in the main. But I think my engine is actually just powerful enough to actually play into things. Um, then some people arguing, oh, what if I get size? I mean, well, most of the time, it doesn't matter what deck you're playing, you get size, you're just losing anyway. So just commit to the loss and then think about afterwards. So that's pretty much orange itself. Like raw drawing or resolving it is kind of costly, and then um I'd rather just treat it as like another life theory, a good one to search. And then, so all the life theory has like another layer of defense whenever, like the perfection, whenever the things happen to the perfection. Then the one token collector. You know what? I'm gonna move this to the end and talk about it at the end, along with the goals that you see. Because these two kinda is in the same category or combo structure, whatever I want to call it later. But let's skip it for now. The spells, Medianus, then the six more Drytron spells. Field spell, Nova, two emergency, one foolish. Those are the other six Drytron spells I have. If you've been watching all my Drytron videos in the past several months on my channel, you well know 2 Nova to Emergency is the ratio I play, and then it's the only ratio I think that's correct to play most of the time. Um, well, if, for example, a Master Duel, I have a tendency to even cut Nova due to Max C existing, and then favor Emergency. But if we're in a format where Droll could even be mained, and then I will straight just cut the field spell and maybe even lower the emergency and prefer Nova. And if there's actually list require me to have the free body link, like the free link removal as a link body for example, Anaconda Dragoon back then I'll prefer Nova over Emergency because the extra one link material does give me more things. But that's just small details different based on each format. At the end, I'm usually maintain a 2-2. If I want to play the third Nova, I toss the Fafnir in first because half of the time this also is my ritual spell. It's not only Nova. Where if you draw a Nova, it's if like you open field spell Nova, at least this is Nova plus ritual spell, right? If you open double Nova, then at least one of them is dead. It's essentially the logic. Like similar or compared to, for example, the other hard ones per turn spell I play, there are three pros pre-prep. Those cards are so powerful and they cannot be replaced. Therefore, I kind of have to max them out despite also taking the risk of them being once per turn. So if I draw multiple, there at least one of them is dead. But they are just so powerful and cannot be replaced by anything else. So I have to max them out. Then look at the Drytron spells. Like Emergency and Nova are both also once per turn, but they can really replacing each other. Like for if you have played Drytron for at least a bit over the marginal situation, you know Nova and Emergency are really just almost the same card in most of the situation. So as the field spell because field spell is just Nova and Foolish, and like most of the cases. And because of that, these cards are like I don't treat them different cards. I treat them the same cards together. And then if they are the same card together, I would prefer to play the card that give me like more live combinations, right? And then at the end it will be 2 Nova, 2 Emergency. Instead of like if you play 3 Nova, 3 Emergency, the chance of you increasing the chance of you drawing same copies of either is increased by a lot. Therefore, there's going to be at least one card like that in your hand. For a hyper combo deck like Drytron that you don't want to see any deck cards, like Eda Tank could be sometimes dead in my hand. I don't like to see. And let alone the third emergency that could be most likely dead with the second emergency in my hand, right? So so yeah, that's the reason. I feel like I have to explain it every single time I go through a Drytron deck profile nowadays, but that's in my opinion the better or maybe even the correct ratio, at least for me. So maybe you can do different. And then prep and pre-prep along with the dawn, that's just the engine. That's these are just more Bentons, and this is like pre-prep is honestly the strongest card in the whole deck. It's also one of the strongest card in the format at the moment. Um, there are so many games I was just wall breaking boards because my pre prep is actually resolving. Or if I start my turn with just pre prep and I almost never be losing. Um, like the only case I can be losing at this point is probably like what my opponent will drop the call by grade for my perfection or orange, and that's like the rare cases. So yeah, this card is just so powerful. So yeah, like I said, I have to max out. Never ever even started out a single piece of it. Ever. At least that's what I did. And then three pot, pod just fix everything. Usually, I think I've been pod digging for non-engines more during the past tournament. Like I've been using pod to dig for droplet or dig for the dark lure after sighting more than just digging for engine cards. I guess because my deck is already full with engine cards and relatively few with non-engines. So that's about it. Then instant call by. These two are the same thing. Um, Overall, honestly, uh, I really treat them as the same card. They pretty much has the same coverage. Yes, there are a lot less draws in the current format now. There's like at most you'll see some after sighting, but most of the time there's not even draws existing in like a lot of people's lists. However, there's like an increasing amount of like Ash is always there, so Ash being there, and there's an increasing amount of like Ghost Ogre, DD Crow, even occasionally Bell and Skullmeisters. Those can be still annoying for like the Drytrons. Therefore, instant and call by are still kind of needed. Um, then that's why I always keep it. I've seen people not playing instant fusion. I think they just wrong. This card is good going first. It give you a layer protection. Therefore, at that point, the only thing that can like impermanent gamma are can be bad for some hands, but most of the time, if my hands are okay, I can play into it. Then after instant fusion, the only threatening is like a nib. Which well then there's the orange for as you see already. And then going second, this card can be even used as like board breaking. Well, a long time ago there were like Appaloosa Revolt. Nowadays there's like what you can instant fusion into like a Sorcerer board and kind of baited a lot of negates from Chichao Baron or maybe even Blackout and what other things. Not useful against size, but like I said, I've already kind of I've like if size were to resolve it, just commit into it. There's nothing else to do. Well, Kaba on the other hand, this can actually stop size, so this is sometimes even better than instant fusion. But then for like other thing, oh, instant fusion can also just solve like brave like the prank kit board. Butler, at least force them out, right? So worst case, you can force out at least one, maybe even two negates just from instant fusions. In instant fusion into Millennium Eyes, and then call by can even be used as like a size sensor. Therefore, that's why these two are just really needed. Then the three droplet, what is the format where droplet better to be in the main deck, right? So that's it. Then there's the tricky part of the deck. There's one Gozen, one token collector. The Golden Match is something the idea is not new, it's been around, but the addition to the list is new to this format. So how access to Gozen is like for there if you are familiar with the Drytron combo, there are combos where I just don't even need to make Beatrice because I open like two Drytrons already. So two Drytrons making to the Mu Beta give me the third Drytron, which usually be like Alpha Zeta into Gamma. At that point, I just don't even need to make Beatrice. So I can make Beatrice still, just to make a free mill of any card. Like Beatrice can mill any card. It's just usually people mill a monster. So at this point, I use Beatrice to mill the Golden from my deck, and then oh, all my monsters are Drytrons. They're what? They're machines. Or even worst case, there are some fairies, like for example, the Beatrice herself. I can just link them into a barricade, just turn them into machines, then climb into an Aurodon. Aurodon, for someone who's not familiar with the Tribute 3 effect, like most of the time people use the Tribute 2 to summon Mecha Phantoms, right? Aurodon actually has a effect where you tribute 3 monsters and add a trap back from the graveyard. Now you see the lineup. Essentially how I access to or how I even search goes in this point is use Beatrice to send the trap and then use Ordon to reset the trap. So essentially, you search it backwards. And then Gozen is, in my opinion, one of the best floodgate in the current format. Um, Essentially, Gozen is a floodgate. It's one of the few floodgate that doesn't even get Draco back from the Brave engine. It's not like guaranteed, but usually, like for example, your opponent goes Brave. The token is Earth, right? Adventure. Let me see. Rights of Adventure. Yeah, the token's Earth, and then they will put faithful into the back row. And then if you have already flipped Gozen here, they won't be able to summon a second monster. Because what Earth deck really existing with Brave now, right? Um, Even they do, it's not that hard to just like force out or get rid of the Draco back or just negate it in any possible ways. But most of the time, because they're locked into the Earth monster and they usually won't be able to summon another Earth monster, um, after the token's already stuck on the field. Therefore, they won't be able to trigger Faithful Adventure to get Draco back early enough to bounce back the Gozen. Therefore, the Gozen become actually a floodgate that cannot be get rid of this. Like, the same idea can be used for like what Skildrin, but then Skildrin just get out by Draco back easily, and then lose its purpose of being there. Then goes and surprisingly, really surprisingly, all my Drytrons are light machines and light fairy. Is there any side effect? No, I can play absolutely normal way when my Gozens flip on my board because I'm playing a light themed deck. Well, that's also why Protoss was hurting so much last format. So that's how I access to it, and then this card is really effective throughout the tournament yesterday because every Brave deck play different attribute. Token is Earth, Griffin is Wind, and usually whatever comes after, like Prankets are all four different attributes. If there is like a brave dragon, then there is like light and dark. They have kind of have to switch around sometimes. And then if they're brave PK, PKs are all dark, yes. But on the other hand, every single extender of PK are usually non-dark, or the brave itself are non-dark. So if they only play PK, then it's relatively easier to handle if I'm just my Drytron cards. What other decks existing? Sorcerer are different attributes. Only Moye is water, and then only Moye is same attribute as the token being water, and then everything else ties of wind. Um, Ties of Wind, Long End is a fire, and then Ecclesia is a light, and all 10s are different attribute. So yeah, now you see this Golden Match is really um, effective in the format. That's why I think this is actually the best floodgate at the moment. To just having the deck to like if I'm doing the same combo accents to a floodgate, and then I guess Golden is the best one. And then Token Collector. Well, a little bit more about Golden. It's like, yes, the amount of fairies at the end of my combo nowadays are much less than before due to Ava getting banned. But if my goal is only using the negates to protecting my floodgate, then that's still more than enough of negates to do that. Therefore, I think at the end, my ending board is maybe even slightly more annoying to deal with because now like Golden can't even be dropletted. So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna put back row removal against the Drytron matchup? Most likely not, right? So and then who's really having back row removal in the main deck? Like Duster is like nah, probably not happening. There might be some occasional Cosmic Cyclone for either Faithful Adventure and the size, but and that's still a relatively low percentage at the moment, at least. So almost yesterday, whenever I flip Golden, I win the game. That's how it is. Then the Token Collector. See, if you are familiar with Drytron combos, there are Drytron combos where a combo is Drytrons. Therefore, like I said, I can just access to Golden because my Beatrice hasn't milled anything or hasn't been used, so I can use Beatrice to do that. But there are combos where I start as Diviner, which essentially the route require me to use Diviner and either Alpha or Diviner plus like one of the Drytron into the first Beatrice to get my second Drytron being Gamma. They use Gamma to access the third Drytron using me Beta. At this point, my Beatrice has been used, and there isn't a second Beatrice existing in the game. Which means if I didn't raw draw my Golden like in my opening hand or lucky through a Delta, which most likely most of the time I won't have access to Golden for the entire combo. Therefore, at the end, what usually will happen is gonna be some IP with Perfection and Beatrice with like 2-3 fairies in hand. It's a pretty decent ending board. However, it doesn't feel enough against like Brave decks because Brave Engine can force out quite a few things, and it's very annoying. And then so I look into it. I was like, well, I mean, there is a Beatrice. Beatrice can be an answer to the Brave cards just by having the token collector in the main. It was be my side for obvious reason because why not, right? I have Beatrice, so I obviously have a token collector on the side. And I look into myself, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna move the collector into the main. At the end, I kind of swapped with Natasha. I'll talk about it later. But at the end, I just threw the collector into main. Be like, if I do combo with two Drytrons, I go through Golden. Then Golden shut down all the Braves. I don't have to worry about Braves. If I couldn't start Drytrons, I go Diviner plus Drytron. Then I'm gonna access to Collector through Beatrice in my opponent's turn. That also shuts down Brave. So as long as I'm going first, I have good upper hand against anything Brave. And everything non-Brave, I think my engine is still good enough to just like force it out. And then half of the time they still get super punished by Golden as well, depends on different deck. So yeah, that's essentially why the collector ends up becoming in the main deck. And then not only Braves, there are still a good amount of Sorcerer existing, right? So similar reason can be applied. Golden is very good against Sorcerer. What are you gonna do after you summon a Light Ten? You just stuck there. What are you gonna do after summon Moya, summon water token? Sure, you can have your those two of your water monster over there, but the only thing you can synchro summon is the dry guy that you don't even guarantee playing from the sorcerer player. Especially nowadays, they heavily focusing on fiber. Like most sorcerer Teis have fiber order nowadays. Therefore, I don't even think they have dry guy anymore. Even if do, what you're gonna do, mail the one or mail the few Nibiru's in your deck to out the board, sure. So Golden is also effective, and for that perspective, like going first, getting access to either Golden or Collector can shut down both Brave and Sorcerer quite a bit. Therefore, it's also these card. If I raw draw it, it's not that bad. Like Collector, if you are in the right matchup, I did raw draw it against like Aurodon, which is pretty good. And raw drawing Golden, like compared to like size DPE, all those bricks you can have. Yeah, Fusion Destiny is a broken card to draw, but everything else, like even size itself, these cards are kind of not ideal, right? For like I said earlier, doing a Nova Emergency for a hyper combo deck like Drytron, you want every single card be alive or at least usable. Golden fits into the second category because it's usable. Like I can just do a relatively like even just a smallest board, like a single Draconet's pass. As long as there is a Golden next to it, the board still pretty looks like pretty hard to out. And then so that if I raw draw Golden going first, it's actually pretty good. It's not like it's definitely not as bad as raw drawing a Celestial or a Dasher going first. That's completely different. Raw drawing Golden just means I can just safely I can just set up IP Golden and use Unicorn first. Which there is a sick play that happened yesterday. I ended was like, I think my Delta at the end of the combo draw Golden, so I ended up just leaving a lot of monster on the board because I don't need to link into Orda. I know it's like, um, I didn't even make Beatrice. I just made an M7 to recycle another thing and pass for a follow up. So my ending was like M7, Perfection, IP was like one or two other line monster, and some of the Drytrons left over there. Pass with the golden set. And then my opponent's turn, he summons something, I IP into Unicorn. Unicorn effect got chained by Droplet, sending 2. So I was like, but he only sent monster and spell, which obviously. So I flipped my Gozen, responded to the Droplet, and because Gozen resolved first, I sent the Unicorn away since it's a dark. And at this point, yes, he negated my perfection because I still have other monster. But Unicorn is resolving because Unicorn is no longer on the board when the droplet was resolving. So Unicorn resolved, and then perfection got negated. I still have the orange light in my hand for another monster negation if I need to, and it goes on the safe on the board. So I definitely won that game after being dropletted. So as you see, that's how broken this floodgate is. If my core engine isn't good enough, I guess we access to some floodgates to usually like the history of the Yu-Gi-Oh combo decks. But oh god, this video is gonna be long as fuck. I'm only going through the main deck. It's already 30 minutes. Well, whatever. All right then. Extra deck. Half sender, half not. To me, bit of Beatrice, yes. M7. This is like a new addition. I had it since last format, but I wasn't playing Drytron last format, so it really only being used this format. Surprisingly enough, Drytron as a deck has no way to deal with a DPE that's already in the graveyard. Like for a very funny, like for a very realistic example, right? My opponent make DP size, my opponent well one time size, and then my opponent decided to blow up the DP with size in some in my early phase of my turn. And then now the DP has resolved into the graveyard. Size is coming back. I do have something for the size. I stop the size. And then turns out I have no way to deal with the DPE. I have to watching it coming back to me. Or unless I drew the one callback, but that's so rare chance, right? I have to watching the DP coming back to me. I have absolutely nothing to do with it. Or um like for example, I dropped the DP, then now I have to use now I have to use negate from perfection for the DP graveyard effect. And it feels just so wasteful to do that. And there's like already not that many fairies in my hand at the end of the combo, and I have to use an additional one for the DP in the graveyard. That's just so. And the next turn there's also Celestial that shows all the maybe the PKs in the graveyard that's coming back, and then so at the end, I was like looking at the card pool. I think the only rank 6 that can, the only other rank 6 that can deal with it is also the Virtual Fan. And it's choosing M7. M7, surprisingly, being a live machine, so it works well with Golden. Also, I do occasionally use M7 to even bounce back my Ben 10 for follow up. Bounce back the Lancia I used that happened during the tournament yesterday. Or just bounce by random annoying monster. Mainly DP is the reason why I play into it, because rank 6 is still relatively easier to access to. There's Ida 10, Ben 10, and even I do over a perfection with it. If I think getting rid of the DP, making M7 is more important. There's also Diviner. So yeah, M7 is the new edition. I really liked it. It really performed super well yesterday in the tournament. I think as long as DP is in the format, M7 just need it. Then Fucho. I replaced it with Assemble. What's the name? Yeah, Assemble Nightingale. Assemble Nightingale is good. It has been the better one for since the Drytron deck is being played as like your enabler for Zeus. However, not really in this current format. Nightingale, yes, it cannot be destroyed by uh, well, cannot be destroyed after you resolve the effect. However, it still get affected by other cards. Therefore, you are not able to summon your Zeus with Assemble because of Fogblade existing. And what bypass Fogblade? Fucho. And then we are in a format where Link monster are no longer the only ending board monster on opponent's board. So there are most likely some sort of defense monster on your opponent's board. Therefore, Fucho, like, the only issue before is like, oh, there's only a Link monster. So you have to detach two material from Fucho to make sure it resolve the battle and not die. Then your Zeus only has one effect. But nowadays, like, if most of the time you can attack into a defense monster, you can just decide to take some damage and still end on like same number of material Zeus after attacking. And then Fucho can, well, at least summoning the Zeus is better than not summoning the Zeus getting assembled fog bladed, right? Therefore, Fucho at the end is the better one for the format, in my opinion. Also, there are people really thinking, for example, there are have like PK guy be like, oh, he has DPE plus Fog Blade, so he can just deal with the assemble during my battle phase. Make sure it's not attacking through, so I won't be able to Zeus. Then I just show him this Fucho in battle phase, and they have absolutely nothing to do with Fucho because it's unaffected by any cards. So yeah, that's well, this one, the Donner Zeus, yeah, it's standard. I've Zeus. I've summoned Zeus on a lot of them. Not only on Fucho or even on occasion on Beatrice. And then I've done like I think there was a game or yesterday. I played against the Prank Kids. I kind of for like my hill were good, and I traded all the interruption he had, and then make Fucho. Well, no, was it either? No, it was he butler blow up my board when I had two level ones. So I made a Beatrice afterwards using Diviner, and then Beatrice punch main phase to Zeus, clear the board and set goals and then win the game. Then the rest, Arclight enters millenized self-explanatory, diviner target, execution targets, link monsters, link Bow, need it, Fanova, IP Unicorn. Half of the time, because Beatrice is used for mailing Drytrons, well, I won't be able to mail Golden. So I still want to end it on something. Then IP Unicorn is the easiest way to have it. Um, and then the bear keyboard plus Aurodon, that's just the combo to access Golden Match. If I know my hand is like, for example, I'm going second, there's no way I need to access to Golden while going second to break boards. I will usually just pop banish these two. These two are actually easy banish going second, which is neat. So that's essentially the extra deck. Extra deck is very tight. I want to play a lot more things. Like I want to have a second Arclight. I want to have other things. I want to have like a Phoenix, because I did had an issue um, where I couldn't out a Baron that has been dropleted. I don't have any link to that's higher than a halved Baron. It came up twice, but both of the game, if even I out the Baron, I'm most likely just gonna die the turn after. Well, I'll just die. Like I would just live for another extra turn, which at the end I'm probably losing. But it did came up where I couldn't out the bear, so I just instantly died a turn after because you just got to pop everything in attack. But I look at my entire extra deck; everything were being used. The only card that's being used the least or the second Mu Beta. I'm not gonna cut that. So yeah, I do want to toss in a Phoenix. Not only the back removal of that is also because of the attack, just to beat over like for that specific situation. But I really don't want to cut the second Mubida for it, and therefore I don't think I'm gonna cut anything for it. If I would just say, uh, just I don't even know what to do honestly. So that's the extra deck. Side, there's the one Natasha. Natasha used to be the main, and the collector is in the side, like I mentioned when I was talking about collector, and I swapped it. I really don't think the game stay gonna last long enough for me to use resolving Natasha effect to take my opponent's card. So Natasha is really there just for time, and or for example, I'm going first or other thing where I need to side out more things and putting other things in my side. I'll just put in Natasha. It's something okay to have. It just not as needed. Uh, After testing a little bit for the opening hands, Natasha once in the main deck, it did give me a chance to brick. So at the end, I was just like, oh, I'm gonna swap it as a collector. If this is gonna be brick, Rojo and this could be a brick, then I would prefer to have this one because it's accessible. It's more accessible through Beatrice and other cards. Like you'll never ever alpha or trap to search a Natasha unless that's the only target left in it. Then one Lancia, once in Lancia, it's a how should I say it? It's like not as good in Drytron if you really think about it. Yes, it stops everything PK, but what will our PK brave opponent do if they cannot use PK cards? They would just simply set up size DPE and pass, right? That's the best outcome they can have. That doesn't require banishing anything. At that point, when I get my turn after resolving size, I'm getting locked by size. No, when I Lancia my opponent, my PK opponent, and get my turn after I got DPE size, seems like it's not really effective in terms of using the Lancia, right? Because Lancia didn't really stop anything. Like that's why DD Crow is the one that I prefer. Because no matter what kind of situation, DD Crow guarantees stops the size in the graveyard. Where Lancia is like it's only here as one off because it's searchable in some cases. Where that's why I just throw it in. When I'm going first, I'm gonna saddle the droplets, right? And then having a Lancia search occasionally does do a lot. But besides the searchable part, I don't really see the necessity of raw drawing Lancia and resolving it. Because whatever killing Drytron or killing most of the deck the most is the size resolving. So I think the priorities should be prevent that happen. And then at the end, I look at a DD Crow, which I think it's the better one. There are a lot of things that's similar to DD Crow. The card pool was like, what were my choice? It was between Bell, Skullmeister, DD Crow, Cosmic, Super Poly. I think those were the five for these three spots devoted to preventing size. And then I look at each individual of them. DD Crow is honestly the worst one as a single card out of the five. But it's the only card that stops size no matter what situation. Um, Giving a couple examples. Bell and Skullmeister. If my opponent goes just blow up DP with size, because size is mandatory 1, DP is going to be 2, neither Crow or Bell going to be able to activate on the size. Yes, you can prevent the DPE, but size resolving that's pointless. Um, and then Cosmic, yes, you can Cosmic hit the size, but at the same time, Cosmic can only hit the size. Cosmic couldn't do anything else in any of the matchup. Like, yes, hitting a Fog Blade is nice, but does my Drytron deck really care about a Fog Blade? Like, if my Drytron deck is really losing to a Fog Blade, I probably shouldn't even play that, right? So, and there isn't that many back row decks in the format. Like Sorso, yeah, they might have a lot of back row, but they usually have more than one back row for you to blind Cosmic hit anything. And then for other decks, like yeah, I'm not gonna put in Cosmic going first like in case for like braving to the Faithful Adventure. That's just not effective. It's just too risky. And so the Cosmics also no. And then Super Party, it could be nice, but I think Super Party, like we're already a couple weeks into the format where people are aware Super Party is a card. And then therefore also Super Party require me more extra deck spaces or side deck spaces for the fusion mouse. That's his I don't have that many spaces. Then Super Parties also can be played around. If my opponent really super care of Super Party, they would just blow up Anaconda with maybe Bardisha at the end phase, and just to guarantee they're not getting super poly. I feel we are in a format where I can see people doing that because super poly is being known already. Like in the first, like maybe 1 or 2 weeks when they just announced the list, super poly might be the better choice. But at this point, I don't want to take the risk of people are aware of super poly and play around it, and I got punished for it. So at the end, I choose Crow. It's it's like at least gonna do something under some matchup. Like it can be used against DD, can be used against Drytron, which I'm not expecting to see anyone playing. What else? There's like still relatively a narrow range for DD Crow used as a sortie hand trap, but DD Crow is like the most effective thing, at least in my Drytron deck, to stop the size. It's also a level 1, so it did happen where I just summon one Drytron, the normal Crow, and make a rank 1 punch for Zeus, but that's like something else. So yeah, that's at the end. It was 3DD Crow for that specific reason. Since I'm really only losing to size, everything besides size, I think I can deal with it with my core engine. So I'm only really siding cards specifically preventing size. That's the logic. And then three Dark Ruler. And Dark Ruler sound looks like a bad card, right? Because size existing that I've been mentioning it. However, you have to think this format isn't just size. There's a lot of more things in the game. Besides size, that's probably the only one that cannot be dark ruler. Everything else can be dark ruler. There are because Drytron, like people gonna try to stop your alpha or the gamma that's gonna punch into Zeus. So Griffin's actually annoying to deal. And then what other things? Sorso, the Baron Chisho, or even just the old Baron Chicho, what's the other one? What's the Yangzing called? Chaofen. And then what other decks? What are the DDD has a lot of annoying negates like the Desmachias, the new rank, the new big one, the rank 10, I think. That's also an annoying card. And so on and so forth. Like almost everything are still putting off front row negates. That can be dark. That can be effectively dark ruled. And I already have almost the max amount of size answers at this point. That I just want more for those things. Like essentially, if you really want to the easier way, the shorter way to understand this is because Griffin is a card as the Omni negate is actually annoying. For Drytron, so I might as well just play something that negate it and also negate whatever thing next to it, right? So that's Dark Coolers. It won me a good amount of games, really. And then Evenlies and the reboot. These are like the only four backrow removal, the real backrow removal in my deck. I'm not expecting that many control. Like I am aware there could be an outage. That's why you see the royal decree here. But most likely I wouldn't. I'm not expecting too many backrow decks. Like this reboot honestly can be cut. Now after the tournament, I don't think I ever use or ever sided in this reboot. But this reboot is like the only cards in my side I think I can change. But I don't know what I'm gonna change into. That's something after. But evenly is like Lightning Storm is an option. Water cards. I guess that's the very few copies you can replace with. The sort of issue being almost all decks set up both front row and back row interruptions. Prankit has their fusion spell with Griffin things, and then what are, Sorso has their front row monster and back row being blackout, and then usually they're non engines. PK has both their front rows and fog blade in the back row. So on and so forth. Those are the biggest decks in the format, right? I think at the moment. So I need something that deal with both the front row and the back row at the same time, which only evenly matched can really do that. And the addition, the cherries on the top, the cherries on the top is that if my opponent is playing a brave deck and I kind of force out the Griffin already, and then they still gonna have the what's called the brave token left under there because they control a token, they have to banish every single thing else and leave the token there. So you don't have to worry about your opponent like leave something threat after evenly, because they control a token, they're forced to keep the token. So that's just the additional thing to it. But at the end, I think what happened more is just I wipe out a lot of the board because of evenly. And then there actually isn't too many Omni negates existing in the format, or it's not that hard to force it out the Omni negates because even just a single pot can force out some Omni negates because they fear of you pot into like a droplet or even pot into the dark cooler. So like just opening for the pot plus evenly can most likely just resolve the evenly at this point. And then evenly did win me a good amount of games. I think that actually is the better board breaking card. I was choosing. Like, be honest, droplet evenly or dark blue evenly still is just the broken combo, right? So that's it. Reboot, as I mentioned, I was in case there is some heavy back row like a Cyber's gadget DP outlet in case existing. There's also three Scourgings. Well, three Scourgings matter less to me, but yeah, in case those happening, reboot still there. But at the end, look at the whole tournament. There wasn't that many, so I could be cutting a reboot, but I have no idea what to replace it with. Then Decree, same reason. It's like setting up a Goza against Eldritch looks stupid as hell, right? Therefore, I'm gonna swap with a Floodgate. I'm gonna putting a Floodgate as anti-Floodgate for my combo in case I'm playing against a trap matchup. Therefore, decrease here really just to swap the Goza for trap matchup. But I am just not seeing any back row matchup. Like there's no there's some Eldritch in the top, but I didn't get to see it. There were I don't think there's Ultra guys. I don't think there's like what Guru Dragoon, whatever. So at the end, it was not being used, but I will gladly to have this here. Since now my coin is definitely gonna be vulnerable to the trap deck. Then there's two more Gozen. Gozen is just the additional thing I put in when I'm going first after swapping out the droplets. Like whenever I going first, I probably side out the droplets and putting like two Gozen and then either Lancia or Crow or Natasha for another fairy, whatever situation. But like I said earlier, I don't mind drawing goals and going first. It's not like a Celestial or a Dasher that you absolutely don't want to draw. Golden as a card is like going first as good as going first drawing Fusion Destiny, honestly. So why not? Why don't I side more when I'm going first? It just goes in as could be good, could be bad going second, but when I'm siding going first, I want to see this card. If I don't see this card, I combo into the card. So yeah, there's two more goals in. There were a game where what was my hand? It was like against the B Trooper round one, game three. My hand was like double diviner, pre prep, double goals in. And I go pre-prep. We're trying to do pre-prep and 10 things. I got trolled, which surprised a little bit, but it makes sense to see it. Well, not expected to see, but not surprised to see it. So I got trolled. I look at my hand. I go normal diviner, sentence, no pop. Now diviner is a 6. Use Dawn to tribute a diviner, summon perfection. Then use Dawn to add a diviner back. Set double goals and pass. Now my ending board is like after being trolled, a perfection with double diviner in hand and double goals in the back row against a beat trooper. What's the way of me losing here, right? Even I get droplet on the perfection. I have double goals on as negate. I have double diviner's follow up. There's no way I can be losing that game. So of course I won that game at the end. So yeah, that's essentially the tricky part about Golden. I really think this is the most effective trap or floodgate in the current format. It stops so many decks. It stops all the decks that's like better than Drytron, and for things that's already worse than Drytron, I can just power through it without it. So that's essentially the deck. I'm no DP, no size. Say no to bricks. um, so that's the idea. I don't think I'm gonna show too many combos because there are not as like fixed combo as before. Essentially, the short idea is alpha zeta. You can still do a lot, but you have to choose. If it's only alpha zeta, you have to choose between either perfection or goes a match. It's impossible. I don't. I haven't. At least I haven't find out a way to end on both with just alpha zeta. Now with my current build, I think. But usually I don't have only alpha zeta. Like two card combo and on either perfection or Gozen. But then when I get to like three card combos, which is usually the case happening, or maybe even four, I can end on both with maybe even more fairies in hand. That's usually how the real game, real matches goes. And that board is almost unbreakable if I have like perfection, three fairy, golden match. That's just unbreakable. That's just a guarantee win board. And then it's essentially like if you are copying the list for like, yeah, I know YC's remote devices is coming. If you want to copy the list, go for it. I'm not gonna play. I'm gonna enter just for the prize. I have other plans for that weekend. But if you are willing to copy the list, make sure you do the following combos as you should be doing for every Drytron list: Alpha Zeta, Alpha Gamma, Alpha Delta, Zeta Gamma, and then Zeta Diviner, and then Pre Prep. Those are the standard, well, 6, 7 combos that if you have any Drytron build, you should be know what to do with it. And then it goes more into the 3 card combos, but that just like an addition to, if you're super good at the 3 card combos, you know what kind of addition to it can make it different or can make it better. So that's the list, and then let me show. I guess we'll talk about the matchups a little bit. Let me see. Yeah, this was a standing in the top. My first round one's the beat trooper, like I mentioned. Game 3, I had double goals in. He's just dead. Game round 2 was a brave. This was a good one. This was the one where I think my opponent combo into like, so he has the fusion into Butler in my turn, and he has a Griffin with the token, is the Brave token, and he like has an Ashing hand. How I knew about it because he's Earth one, the Earth prank banished an Ashing hand to draw a card. So well, yeah, at that point he has a second Ashing his hand, right? So that's almost guaranteed. How I break it, I broke the whole board and won the turn after. I think I go like Gamma Tribute Alpha got Griffin. He doesn't want to play into me Zeus the board. Then I go Pot. Pot got me called by Grave. Then I go Ash Tribute Zeta. He Ash. No, I go Alpha Tribute Zeta. He Ash. I call by, and then I go Alpha Ben 10 Zeta Tribute Ben 10 Summon grab Ritual Spell Diviner. He go summon Butler blow up the board in case to prevent me even making a assembled here. And what happened after? After that, oh, I go normal diviner, normal diviner, send, do things, make a Beatrice battle phase attack, mill token collector in the battle phase, main phase 2, make a Zeus wipe the board, then set Golden, because I roll draw it. Then set Golden, pass, his turn, I flip Golden, game over. That's round 2 against the Brave Prankets. Then round 3 is Infernoble. I think I was lucky. I drew the orange game. I raw drew the orange. Game 2. I think his opening was broken. His opening was connector cross out 3T Destrudo. So he go normal connector effect. I go orange, blow it up. He couldn't cross out. He triple T draw 2 didn't give him good cards, and he's the Strudel's dead because he doesn't have a monster on the board. So that was lucky. Round 4 is a hero. I think game 1 I full comboed, got OTK'd after because he had Duster for my call by, and then Droplet for my perfection. Then right after that, he go Hero Lift, summon Shadow Mist, active Mass Change, summon Dark Claw, turn off my Orange Light, and grab Faris or Vion to combo and kill me. So yeah, that was the hero. And then round 5, Invoke Dogmatica. Losing to Winda. Golden isn't that effective in this matchup, so that this is actually the bad matchup. And Winda's annoying, right? Round 6 was a striker, just striker. Round 7, dragon. I don't think there's. Oh, wait. Yeah, I don't think there's too many things. I think the dragon game 1 was like, my opponent set up the board. I play into it. I cracked the board, and then I got in the build. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna set the goals in and flip the goals in. After turn 1, all dragon summon is mainly just dark, and he just stuck his Nibiru. I stuck his Nibiru token, but my Nibiru token is like over 10k attack. Next turn, I just summon something attack with kill him with a token. So that was then round 8 was Sorcerer Terry. I think at that point I was guaranteed top 16, so we just play whatever. Game 1, this one was the one where I made IP Unicorn and my opponent droplet. Then I chained the Golden to send a Unicorn to play around it. So that was that one. And top 16 was a 10E or so. It was a synchro one. Um, what happened this one? Game one I won because of Gozen. I set it up. Why Roger? I forgot. Game two, he went first. He had everything. Game three. Oh no, wait, no, this was wrong. I lost game one actually. I won backdoor. I won two and three, and then game three. Game two, my hand was just broken. He set up. He went through like I think he goes summon 10 East, activate a foolish spell, get then going to fiber aura, and then going to end was like Chalfeng locking lie was Chi Shao 3 back row pass, including a blackout. My turn, I look at my hand, cool, my hand was broken. Battle phase, evenly the board, he kept Chalfeng, main phase to Dark Cooler. Then the rest of the card in my hand was like Alpha, Delta, and double prep. So yeah, that's the game. And then top A was DDD. It was against Pack. It was Pack stream. So for anyone who's watching, that was the match everyone watched. I think essentially what happened. Game one, um, game one, Pack went first. He set up the DDD board. It was like the big rank 10, the rank 6, and the trap that the essentially a snatch through. No, no. Essentially a crackdown. And then what happened to my turn? I think I resolved prep pre-prep, and then I used Diviner to blow up the field spell because the field spell will be preventing me summon Zeus. And then I droplet both of his Xyz, and then you because I prep pre-prep, I used the perfection to stop the trap. And then I went into a Beatrice. Um, I think I summon the Benton back. I punch everything and I use Perfection and Diviner into Beatrice, mail a Gamma, then make a Zeus after. Use Then make Zeus after. Go Gamma in the graveyard, Ching 1, tribute to Benton, chilling 2 Zeus, clear the board, and then summon Gamma back at channeling Quad, summon another Drytron. I think I got nipped here, but the nip token was like big. The defense was like at least 3k due to my juices there. And Pack try to clear. He has only one way to clear the token, which is the level A, the one that revive thing. I forgot the name. Ragnarok. And then I had an orange specifically for the Ragnarok. So he couldn't out the nip token, and the turn after I just punched for game. That was game one. Game two, I started in second, and Pac let me go first, and I think he only had a nib, which I played into it because I resolved like pre-prep after pot. Um, oh, his hand was nib, driver, and draw into ash, so it's really bad. So yeah, that's essentially the top eight. Then we split top four. I got like we each got 5.5 box of grand creators. So I opened everything. I got two ultra rights and two ultra the water lady in enchantress, whatever English name. And then I also pulled a CR right, so I trade the CR right for another one of each ultra that I'm missing. So yeah, it was a free tournament. I finished my brief set. I'm pretty happy about it. So that's it for the Drytron list. As I mentioned earlier, you are welcome to use it for the remote YCS in the coming week. I'm not playing, so I don't really care. But if you do, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any thoughts, comments about the tournament, the list, the specific build, the no size, no DPE, say no to bricks kind of list. It is honestly similar to how I won the UDS 2 years ago because that time everyone was on what Spiral and Luna. Those that can brick, and my dragon was winning because consistency. That kind of has a recurring thing right now because my Drytron deck, my specific list, has no bricks. The most bricky things were like the duplicates droplet and duplicates pop, but I have to commit into those. So I'm winning by really having better consistency there. And also the deck itself is still powerful in my opinion. So yeah, let me know any comments. Feel free like the video, share it to everywhere, and then if you are using it, good luck to your YCS next weekend. Um, Remember to subscribe to the channel, and then yeah, I know this is a long video, but that's I hope I'm glad you've been watching until the end for this part. So that'll be it. I will hope to see everyone in the next video, and then see ya.